Young men are becoming more open to having children, whilst more young women are deciding they don't want them at all. Now, that might sound like an exaggeration, but it's not. When researchers asked young people about their futures, there was a noticeable gap. And that gap isn't just interesting, it could change relationships, dating, and even population trends. So the question isn't, is this happening? It's, why are men and women starting to want completely different futures? Before we break this down, there's one thing to understand. This isn't about people not liking kids. It's about risk, trade-offs, and what modern life actually looks like. And once you see that, the whole thing starts to make a lot more sense. There's clear evidence that attitudes towards having children are changing, particularly amongst Generation Z. But here's the bigger picture. Across developed countries, birth rates are falling. People are having children later, and some are opting to not have them at all. In the UK, for instance, fertility rates are around 1.5 and they need to be around 2.1 just to stay stable. That would mean over time, fewer people, fewer families, and a completely different demographic structure. But the real shift isn't just numbers, it's that men and women are starting to see things differently. And once you understand why, you start to see that this isn't random, it's predictable. So what's really going on? Cost, but not how you think. Everyone says it's expensive to have kids. That's true, but it's also incomplete because it's not just about money, it's about timing. Today, people are reaching stability later than ever. Later careers, later home ownership, and later financial security. So having children doesn't just cost money, it interrupts your timeline, and that hits differently depending on who you are. The invisible calculation. Here's something most people don't say out loud. When women think about having children, they're often doing a calculation, not consciously, but it's there. Things like career progression, income loss, independence, and long-term stability. This is what economists call the motherhood penalty, and it's real. Women's earnings often drop after having children and don't fully recover. So the question becomes, is this a trade-off I'm willing to make? That's a very different question to, do I like kids? More options, harder decisions. This is one of the biggest hidden drivers. Women today have more options than ever before, and that's a good thing. But it changes decision-making because more options mean more to give up. In the past, there were fewer options and clearer paths. Now, there's more freedom and more uncertainty. And that makes big decisions like children heavier. Dating has changed everything. This part is underestimated. Modern dating creates more choice, more comparison, and less stability. If relationships feel less secure, having children feels more risky. The mental load is no longer hidden. This used to be invisible, now it's everywhere. The mental load is everything that comes with running a household and raising children. And even today, women tend to carry more of it. But now people know that before making the decision. So instead of discovering it later, they're deciding earlier. The expectation has disappeared. This is one of the biggest cultural shifts. Having children used to be the default, now it's optional. And once something becomes optional, people start asking, do I actually want this? Future anxiety. There's also uncertainty about the future. Not everyone feels it the same way, but for some, it matters. And uncertainty makes long-term decisions harder. And just to be clear, this doesn't mean all men want kids or all women don't. This is a trend, not a rule. But trends shape behaviour over time, and this one is growing. So in summary, this isn't about men versus women. It's more about how modern day life has changed how we see having children. because for some people, children represent purpose, family, and building something, whilst for others, they represent uncertainty, trade-offs, and risk. And when those perspectives don't match, you don't just get disagreements, you get delayed relationships, fewer families, and different life paths entirely. And that shift is already starting to happen. For more videos like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.